2013 would have been the 100th birthday year of the great English composer Benjamin Britten. And we thought it fitting to celebrate his musical legacy, as we can here, because he contributed an incredible amount of great chamber music. Many people know Britten's music through his operas, for example, Peter Grimes, but he was such an ingenious and sincere composer and very, very prolific that he did leave us lots of chamber music. So we have in Alice Tully Hall an entire program devoted to works of Britten. I believe this is the first time the Society has ever presented such a program. It will be varied. It will be music that perhaps many have not heard before, but it will conclude with a piece that certainly all cellists and cello lovers know, the sonata that he wrote for Rostropovich for cello and piano, played by yours truly.
In addition to the wonderful Alice Tully Hall program, we will present 3 concerts in the Rose Studio. These programs are conceived and performed by the Escher Quartet. If you come to all 3 of them, you will have the experience of hearing the complete string quartet of Benjamin Britten.
We really wanted to find a way to put the 3 quartets of Benjamin Britten in different contexts. And he was obviously a British composer, so that was the first thing that came to mind. So one of the programs is all British music. And another thing is that he was very influenced by sort of the very old writing, and also Britten lived through one of the great events of the century, World War II. And his first quartet was written right at the start of that war. We wanted to also put it in that context of composers that were writing around that war, and also, even a composer that was in a concentration camp. In the first program, it's inspirations from the past. So in Britten's second quartet, there's actually a movement called chaconne, which is a form of music from the Baroque period. And we've also paired that with Purcell's chaconne, which probably Britten was inspired by because he actually wrote the quartet in commemoration of Purcell. And the other connection was Beethoven and Gesualdo, which we sort of paired together because Beethoven's quartet, Opus 132, there's one movement that he actually wrote in sort of an ancient form, and he was definitely inspired by these Renaissance madrigals. And that's why we put Gesualdo on the program too, to sort of show the inspiration of Beethoven from his distant past, just like Britten was also inspired by his distant past with Purcell.
The second program highlights English music in general. We start with Benjamin Britten's first teacher, Frank Bridge, with the piece Noveletton, which is very lush and romantic piece. After that, the most famous string quartet of Elgar, Opus 83.
And the second half of this program starts with these really crazy, totally avant-garde pieces by this still living British composer, Bert Whistle. And we're going to do a couple selections from his 9 movements for quartet. And then the last piece on the program is by Britten, his last quartet, which was written very close to the end of his life and a little bit avant-garde for Britten, I think. But I think it's a great piece, and we're excited to present all these British pieces on one program.
The third program, featuring the music for string quartet written by Benjamin Britten, actually is the one that speaks to me the most, because it corroborates an event that was very tragic for human history. It's the Second World War. And this program starts with Prokofiev's second string quartet and the 8th quartet of Shostakovich. They're both from the same country, but in some ways the reaction of Prokofiev is more optimistic than the one from Shostakovich. The third piece on this Britten program was written by Victor Ullmann, and that's a testament to what man can do. He actually wrote that piece when he was in a concentration camp, and I think he finished it right before he was sent to Auschwitz, and obviously he died there. Just by that mere fact, he deserves to have that piece played more often.
The whole series we're ending with Britten's first string quartet, which he wrote when he was still quite young and barely into World War II, but obviously there was still so much instability at that point in Europe, and it's clear that he was responding to that in the first quartet in a lot of ways. And it's a great way for us to be able to end the whole series and just sort of show Britten's youthful energy and also his amazing quartet writing.